This is a review of The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry by Rachel Joyce. This is a book, and it's a book about Harold Fry. I'll read the back. When Harold Fry leaves home one morning to post a letter, with his wife hoovering upstairs, he has no idea that he is about to walk from one end of the country to another. And starts off very unremarkable. The letter that would change everything arrived on a Tuesday. It was an ordinary morning in mid-April that smelled of clean washing and grass cuttings. It sounds like an ordinary day in anybody's ordinary house. And it's about ordinary lives really, but it's a lot more than that. You think what is going to happen doesn't happen, and what the story is about, it really isn't about. Harold Fry gets a letter from an old colleague, a lady he used to work with, and you think there's more to it than there actually is. In the letter you don't know, isn't it a love story? Is it a love story? And he's thrown by the letter because he hasn't heard from the lady for a long time. He hasn't thought about the lady for a long time, and he decides to reply to the letter. So he writes a reply quite quickly, jots it down, tells his wife he's just going to go and post it at the post box. When he gets to the post box, he doesn't want to post it, but he doesn't just put it back in his pocket and walk home. He thinks, I'll walk a bit further and then post it, and walks a bit further and a bit further, just dressed as he went out the house in the morning. Calls at the garage to pick up something to eat. This is where he talks to a young girl in the garage, and really she changes the story. By her actions, the whole story takes on a new meaning, and Harold starts walking, and you just want to keep reading it. You want to know what happens. It changes, and you think it's one thing and then it's not. The relationships in it, you think they're one thing and then there's something else. It's basically a story about Harold and his wife and his son and a lady he used to work with years ago, and all the things that you think about the relationships aren't really what they seem to be. But it's you just want to keep reading it. She slips wonderful insights into everyday things, Rachel Joyce does, and it's really it's a book that at lunchtime I was more excited to start reading the book again than to pick up my sandwich, which is, you know, saying a good thing for a book. And inside I put a little post-it note because there was a little bit in it that I really wanted to read out. It's about Queenie, and this is the lady who he's going to post a letter to. Once she had been a woman called Queenie Hennessy. She did sums and wrote with an impeccable hand. She had loved a few times and she had lost, and that was all, as it should be. She had touched life, played with it a little, but it was a slippery bugger, and finally we just closed the door and leave it behind. A frightening thought for all these years. And it's just little ways that she writes, Rachel Joyce, that it makes you you think, that's a different way, different spin on things, and it's full of little insights. The people along the way Harold meets, some of them you like, some of them you really don't like. At one point you get some hangers on and you think, oh no Harold, what are you doing, get rid of these people. You're rooting for Harold all the way. Sometimes you're really annoyed with Harold, and sometimes you want his wife to just go and fetch him in the car, and other times you want his wife to just leave him alone. It really drags you in, and it makes you want to get to the end. So I recommend that you give it a try, and just enjoy it for what it is. It's just a book about Harold and his life.